we love Michael Mayer. I love Michael Mayer, and he's a really good player. But he get a chance to add just another dimension to the offense, whether it's a tight end, a hybrid receiver, whatever it is. We need more playmakers on that side of the ball, so I think he's going to really help us there. And
hey, I need these big boys up front grinding now. Bring that mentality now. Bring that mentality. I know you'll whoop some ass. We'll see you here, man. Enjoy with your family. We'll talk to you in a second, all right?
Woo! Raiders.
The Las Vegas Raiders, your Las Vegas Raiders, had such a good draft. So many points within this draft is almost very similar to a romantic comedy, right? Where you see with the first pick, it's like, oh, how could you do that to us? How could you do that when we have this guy? And then with your second pick, it turns everything into like, oh, okay, I'm happy, I'm better. We needed this point. And then I think the rest of the draft really just shows this beautiful story of, okay, this is a valuable piece. This player is highly underrated. This guy, if he can get everything clicking, this is going to be a legitimate dude. So you guys have 3-4 legitimate picks, players that I'm probably going to talk about more. I always get lit when I talk about the Raiders, but first things first, like let's go ahead and get the elephant out of the room. We were all in shock. Okay, so there's shock and then there's anger. I would say 100% of everyone outside of the Las Vegas Raiders facility at Allegiant Stadium was shocked when Brock Bowers' name was called at the 13th overall spot for the Las Vegas Raiders. Shocked, 100%. I was at Pluckers, and they do this thing where they go around. There's a guy with a mic. He goes around, he finds, 32 people and has everyone have a pick. And I believe the dude that said the name of who they're going to get, I'm more than sure he said Leatu Latu, the pass rusher that the Indianapolis Colts got out of UCLA. I'm more than sure that's what he said. When Brock Bowers' name happened, you hear all of these gasps, and then you see the Raiders people angry. We have Michael Mayer. And I like Michael Mayer a lot. We loved him coming out of Notre Dame, and he's on the up and up. I think he had a pretty good rookie season. What my brain has done with Tom Pelesco and what he is trying to do, I think he just wants talent. I don't care what position you play. I don't care what college you went to. I don't care what year you're in. I want competition, positional competition, no matter what. I guess unless you're the quarterback position, we don't really want to make any waves there, even though your starting quarterback at this point in time is Gardner Minshew. I think it's good. And this is what I've been breaking it down upon. So clearly, Antonio Pierce, Max Crosby have this legitimate, fair, well-deserved anger, hate, disdain for the Kansas City Chiefs. But there is more respect than I believe hate. 100%. And I think what Travis Kelce has done when you really paint the picture, Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes are doing great things as a quarterback and tight end duo. It does not matter who the blockers are, who we saw this past year with getting a new left tackle, a new right tackle. We thought the Chiefs were going to be done. They weren't. Having no receiver help, legitimately, but they go as far as they did with a legitimate tight end. And I think that's what they're trying to do with Brock Bowers. I think that's what Antonio Pierce trusts and respects. And Brock Bowers, he's a guy that likes to block. I mean, he's in a very lazy way of approaching the evaluation of Brock Bowers is he's Travis Kelce, but can block a little bit better. And Travis Kelce's a good blocker. And so, guys, I need to know in your comments, like, are you pissed? Are you mad? You guys now have Michael Mayer, who's going to be looking on the outside in somewhat. Or you can have 22 personnel, and you just have two tight ends on the field at the same time. And or you can have an H-back at Brock Bowers, and you move him all over the place. I don't know, but I do agree with the notion of getting athletes that can get you touchdowns, which Brock Bowers is well known for, getting touchdowns, getting yards, getting run after catch. And so I don't think you guys should be upset whatsoever. You guys got a dude, a legitimate dude. And so I just want to know where you at with Brock Bowers. You got him on your team. He's a part of the roster. Where you at? Second pick in the second round that you guys did, I think is so beautiful, And he can play center, he can play guard. I think he's a little bit better at that center spot because he's so big, he's so massive. Pause on that one. Jackson Powers Johnson, center. You guys have him as a guard right now out of the University of Oregon. And I personally believe that with the prowess and the intelligence, Jackson Powers Johnson, who we actually had the opportunity to interview at the Senior Bowl, I myself looking in front of this man, and he's a freaking tower. You get a sense of I believe this. This is what I believe. Bo Nix had a great year, but I think Bo Nix having a great year was to the results of Jackson Powers Johnson. Like, honestly, if you look at this guy, nothing really gets past him. Active feet, strong hands, big body, 30 reps, I believe, in the bench press at the combine. 30 reps as a center. That's crazy. That's crazy work. And so what you guys have done is you've also, and I hate to say it like this, but what do the Kansas City Chiefs have? They have a legitimate center in Creed Humphrey. I think he's been all pro every single year that he's been in the league, even as a rookie. So you got a tight end and you have a potential, legendary center if everything pans out right. So it just looks as if you guys are building your roster to beautifully implement and complement defeating the Kansas City Chiefs, which you guys did last year. And so you guys are just right there. And like I said, getting the guys in the building is the only thing that matters. Finding out where they fit, finding out what places they took, finding out who's going to be their backup. You figure that out in training camp. You figure that out in the week 5 matchup. There could be days where Michael Mayer's the dude. The next week, it's going to be Brock Bowers' show. Everything is about matchup. I do want to quickly talk about DJ Glaze. He is potentially going to be a starting offensive lineman for you guys. And I think this is such a clutch pick. I believe it was the 3rd round, pick 77 for DJ Glaze out of Maryland. Look, when Glaze is on his A game and he's feeling himself, one of the best tackles in this draft. Promise you, one of the best tackles in this draft. He can get nasty. He's very strong. Once he gets his hands on you, it's pretty much over. But there's been a lot of times where the speed rush and or the speed to bull rush gets him off balance. He does have times where it's hard for him to get to a set point when he's doing his kickback to get to the exact point where he needs to be, and then some being imbalanced and then getting his hands in the right position. It's just not as consistent as I want it to be, but these are definitely things that he can learn and equip himself with and get better with. But my favorite player that you guys drafted was the Jim Thorpe Award winner with Trey Taylor, DB out of Air Force. One thing about this guy's physicality, and Trey Taylor that is, it is consistent. His physicality is consistent. And it's so great and fun to see when you turn on the film, how he can fly around the ball and he can have a receiver blocking him and he just bull rushes this receiver, puts his arm out and tackles the ball carrier. He can take on tight end blocks. He can take on big boys, the offensive linemen. He's not afraid of anything. This is a guy who is literally in line to protect our country. So these men that he's seeing on the field aren't necessarily going to bother him or strike any fear into him, because at the end of the day, he's just playing football. Jim Thorpe Award winner that you guys picked up in the 7th round. I had Trey getting picked up just because of positional value of safely in the 3rd round. I saw him in the 3rd round. I got 3rd round potential in this kid, and you guys picked him up in the 7th. Of course, you got Dylan Loud, who is another guy that I love at the Senior Bowl. We did not get a chance to interview him personally because he was so loved. Did this man jump off the field? We kept saying, who is number 40? Who is number 40? Who is that white guy? Number 40. It was Dylan Laub. And then you got Tommy Eichenberg. And I like what he has. He seems a little bit much like a slower Leighton Vander Esch, like a less athletic form of Leighton Vander Esch, to where it's like he finds the ball, he gets ball, he hits really hard, he's very cerebral. It's just he's lacking that consistent athleticism. Maybe he could just work with him understanding where the play is going ahead of time. Great draft. Loved it. Really did love it. But I want to hear from the Raiders faithful. I want to hear from you guys. Were you mad? Were you upset at the end of the day? Have you grown to love the Brock Bowers pickup? Let me know what you all think. And do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe.